There we go. Good morning. It's December 6th, 2016. This is the Divvy community meeting. Kendall and Killian are present as leaders. We have one visitor, Shaon, who unfortunately doesn't understand spoken English and really came here thinking he was coming to the scenario.cc meeting this afternoon, which I had announced because there was some interest in the scenario slide.
So, welcome, Shaon.
Yeah, and I guess he has his own community. He may be looking to find investors. I just tell him no investors here.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have a hell of a week in the embroilment with the scenario issues. On the Divvy Consider It, let me share my screen. If we look at the newest, we have the bounty payment system, which is a later agenda item. Obviously, we want to automate that system soon. There's really been no activity on the other project here in the last week. On the scenario.cc, consider it. We have enable AMP voting proposal, and we have a project document set up for that. Where at this point, although there was a lot of interest initially in the project, and it seems to have gotten a critical mass very quickly, it really hasn't gotten any support from either the R-Chain4 scenario LTD communities. And I offered a 5,000 amp bounty myself, but no one else has come to the table with willingness to work on it or whatever. So that's on hold at present. Second report is the Divvy draft business plan. Kendall, Killian, anything to report there?
So, the last comments were December 2nd, and I haven't, I'm sort of like the de facto editor of the document, and I have to, I really need to go through it, and I haven't done that, but I will.
Yeah, and I have to go through it also, and I mean, I know that what you put together there is quality, and I know that most of the stuff is good, and I just have been too embroiled in other things to really give it the attention it deserves. And
Right. Well, and one of the things is in light of everything that happened with Scenario, much of which involved governance. I mean, two things: governance and also the makeup, the legal makeup of Scenario and its relationship. In other words, the legal entities' relationship with the community, the Scenario community. I think there are a lot of lessons in how that's played out, and I would be very interested in getting, Jim, both your feedback on that and Killian, because I sat in on a couple of those meetings, but I'm assuming there's more to add.
Yeah. That's agenda item number 1.
Oh, okay.
We could get down to pretty quickly, because that was the last report that's written, except for the toolbox that was written here. I also have not gotten around to enhancing the toolbox. I did ensure that a couple of things that I wanted to be in there are in there.
You put them in the suggestion area, right?
I had it, I could see my words. I had added them previously somewhere, and they found their way into the document.
Oh, okay, good. Probably moved from the collaborative development document.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's more to be done there.
Sure.
Yeah. This Scenario CC, where is the proposal on the Scenario CC? I guess was it in Divi? I guess it's in Divi. Divi, we had one important proposal that I didn't mention, and maybe so that may be an action item here. It looks like there's no proposal here on the migration from what am I doing? The migration from Slack to Rocket Chat. A big problem in the Scenario right now is that the 10,000 minute message limit is erasing all history. And we're approaching that point with the Divi Slack, and we need to move to Rocket Chat. And that project has to be fleshed out. I thought there was a proposal. Let me just. Okay, there was a lot of discussion in Slack about it and potential people to work on it. But it is something that we will need to focus on before we start losing history. I'm sorry. Anything else on the toolbox?
No, no, again, it needs to be some editing done in there, and I've just been slammed with other things this last week.
Yeah.
So,
And, hopefully we can get more people in the community involved in helping with this because
well, yeah, I mean, it's designed that way. I mean, I think that one of the next efforts here, once we, complete our let's call it our pre ICO business plan and get it out the door. I think that's really a high priority. Then, the toolbox is kind of an ongoing project, and which will never be completed. So the kind of job one there is to develop a quality networking element with the community, make them aware of the toolbox and how we're trying to build it and how we want their support. So that's part of the strategic goal of networking.
right. So our action item here is to engage community. Okay, so agenda item 1 is the November and December bounties. And we have the bounty claim form, which Killian developed. Have any bounties been claimed for November, Killian?
How many were you said?
Yeah, how many bounties were claimed with the form?
You're asking me. I have to check. Let me check. Might take 30 seconds.
Yeah, maybe you could share your screen. Oh, no, yeah, I guess it has private information. Never mind.
I guess the real problem is my bandwidth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for. Which folder did we put it again? It was
under tensions scenario, I believe, or yeah, tension scenario. We put it under community community collaboration under there. I don't remember. I can look.
Yeah, I found it. Let's see response.
Yeah, there was a suggestion in the scenario conference that anybody who handles finances in the scenario.cc community should have background checks. And I was wondering what the cost of that would be.
There's 3 bounty claims.
3 bounty claims?
Yeah.
Okay, did they claim all 3 currencies or just 1 or 2?
I know from myself that I claimed the bounty and I only claimed, I put in all 3 amounts, but I didn't put in a Divi, like an Ethereum testnet address, and neither a crypto index address, because I didn't know what this is supposed to even be. I have heard of the platform, but I've seen it once, I think, but I cannot really connect anything with it yet.
Did you get a testnet address?
Ethereum Morden?
Yeah.
I think I have one somewhere, but I'm still not too comfortable operating with my Ethereum wallet in the sense that I would say, oh yeah, this is the one I definitely want to have all my tokens being sent to. So I rather leave it blank for now.
Well, you know, I've been thinking that we're going to have a limit, you know, on how, you know, people collecting bounties, and at some point, I think the unspent November bounty should be added to the December bounty, but that's something to be decided by the community.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because if
Yeah, we can't, you know, we can't hold the liability. I mean,
I would maybe give like 1 month or so. If you're not claiming, then it automatically gets retransferred to the pool. But yeah, we have to decide on that.
Jim, are you worried about fraud with regard to the distribution of the bounties?
No, what I'm worried about is that we become a bank and we have to hold this money.
Oh, yeah.
In 10 years, somebody claims the bounty. Okay. That I don't want to be in that business.
Okay. So part of this probably involves disclosures, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And if you go and you look, okay, so, and here's why the established proposal protocols that we have in place are so important, because all of the disclosures are there on all of the documents. And so, I mean, if that, and so those disclosures need to be also attached to any agreement with people who accept bounties. Okay, and what I'm getting at is this: all of these bounties are being offered in Divi Alpha Pilot. And Divi Alpha Pilot is awarding tokens that have no value. They're like play money in Morden testnet. Okay, now we can implement a program where all of those testnet tokens, if they have proven themselves to be effective and have the kind of utility that we intend to impart to them in the Divi Alpha Pilot, they could be migrated to in such a way that they would then become valuable in Divi beta rollout.
Yes, and you know, which I guess brings into question what kind of disclosures do we have on the claim form, and are they adequate?
Well, that's right. Yes. Okay. So that's an action item. We need to, you know, we need to extend, and if you would like me to, I'll briefly. I can show you what they are in the proposal forms, and maybe we need to. Let's see. So You know, and this kind of goes back to our okay, so
Okay, now we're awarding amps as well, but you know they're really directly from the sponsors to the people, more or less.
yeah.
We do have the issue of the donation from Scenario Fan.
Well, that's true.
Which currently he put under my control exclusively.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I think the policy is that we operate according to the wishes of whoever provides the bounty.
Well, okay, so yeah, but that I mean that kind of asks the question, if if amps or other cryptocurrency that are tradable, in other words, can be converted to quote real money, in which case then you might be able to, you know, extrapolate a bank of some sort. The question is, are they, does that cryptocurrency become an asset of DiviDAO Ltd, okay, or you know, Jim, you're saying there were special instructions where you would have sole control over the distribution.
Yes, and I will follow whatever Divi says, but it's my, it was given to me the responsibility of handling the funds, and the history is probably gone on it from Slack, but I think we have it preserved.
Well, you sent me a Slack thread with
Right.
Scenario Fan, so I probably have that. But
Right, and his final instruction was, "I leave it in your good hands."
well, that's good. Which kind of brings me back to the our draft business plan. I mean, I really believe we need to set a date where we send it to Scenario Fan, and if we don't have certain issues resolved, then we need to craft it in such a way that it still works. You're on mute, Jim. You're on mute.
Yeah, he keeps. He asked me where to send it, and I'm postponing that.
Yeah.
And I can spend my own amps, until it becomes necessary to spend his.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this. What I forgot my. Well, I mean, we need to do a follow-up with him.
I could easily just set up a second wallet and put it in there. There's no rush on it as far as I can see.
Right. But I mean, the amps that would be distributed, what's your sense of how they would be distributed versus Divi tokens? And
well, if you look at the Scenario CC collaboration document, it looks like there's a lot of comments here. We got to clean up before the meeting. Most of them anonymous. Holy macro. It's a mess.
Well, you look like you have a grammarian, an anonymous grammarian.
Yeah, this is the part. This is the part they've added on the vetting process for anybody who handles money. That is added by I forget who in Slack.
Huh.
But essentially, we have bounties for projects, tasks, and roles. Okay, we have we have some monthly roles. We said there's bounties that are put on tasks. I mean, so far they've been put on by individuals more than by Divvy, except Divvy is allocating part of Scenario Fans bounty to the Scenario CC project.
Well, these are, I would just say,
The payoff matrix is one of the mechanisms.
Hmm.
Okay, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about for November. Okay, is this payoff matrix, which awards AMPS, Divvy, and Crypto Index.
Mm-hmm. Well, we really need okay. Jeff and I made a proposal in using the proposal document to write write a white paper that fleshes out the the token reward matrix, basically, and I don't know where it is. Otherwise, and Killian, maybe you can help me. Jeff and I did it, when we hung out after the last week's meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
The Scenario CC community is autonomous, and it can distribute the coins, the bonuses anyway, the bounties any way it wants to.
But wouldn't you say that the documentation and so forth, I mean, it's called Bounty Payoff Decision Matrix. It's a laboratory for the kind of bounty payoff decision matrix we want to have in Divvy, right?
Right, and it's a tool that we can offer to communities that they can use if they want.
Okay, so that's my point. Now I haven't delved too deeply into this document or Scenario CC.
Right. It should be linked into the considerate item for developing the bounty system.
Okay, well. Okay. I mean, anything go and consider it. I'm trying to, what I'm trying to do is get traction in this space, right? This project, and not just for this project, but get dual use out of it. Okay, at least dual use out of my participation, and I'm listed. As a member of this developer group, right?
The Scenario CC community.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're in here.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is to participate. I am going to, let me see, where in the collaborative community project document can I click on?
Actually, Kendall, you're not in here. I know you volunteered to join the community, but we never could find your ScenarioNet Slack address, I think.
Really? I mean, that would be, I log into ScenarioNet Slack.
You have to add yourself to the document.
Okay, all right, I can do that. Okay, fine. Let's see. Okay, all right. Well, that's kind of where I'm coming from. You know, as again, I mean, it's a great spreadsheet, and you know, we need to be adding functionalities, and you know, this project is kind of like a laboratory.
Right. Exactly. Every project is a laboratory.
Exactly. So you know, the role that I see, I'm not a technical person. I'm an organizational person, and you know, coordinating the value that has been gained within the laboratory as far as the documents are concerned. So you know, I'll work on integrating this document with Divi strategic goals. Say, Killian?
Yes.
Can you tell me how to navigate to wherever that proposal that Jeff and I made last week, where it went to?
Good question. Like, it's a considerate proposal, or?
No, it was using the proposal submission form off the website.
Yeah, I see. I received an email about it. You didn't?
No.
Because I think you also have the notification on, but it's basically, let's see, it's a Divi, then Divi website.
So it would, if I type in Divi in my Google search bar, that ought to bring up that if I got it.
In your Gmail or in your Google Drive?
No, in Gmail.
I'm not exactly sure how the headline is being. Probably if you put in proposal, then it would pop up.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think we ought to have it so that it automatically, you know, at least it goes to you and I. If not, I think it should go to all of the managers should get this notification,
Right.
and it should say, it should be titled Divi Proposal.
Right. Yeah, basically every manager has to set the notification.
Yes.
For this.
Right.
Let me find the submission form.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was in that folder, but it's in a different folder apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see that I got it here.
Mm-hmm. It's always tricky to find your way through the Google Drive.
Oh.
Tensions, I think. No. Yeah, I'm searching for it. I will talk. I'll find it.
Very good. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, Jim, maybe while he's looking for that, do you want to kind of give an update on what's going on with the scenario split into Row, Row, well, what are the two entities at this point?
Our chain and Scenario Ltd.
Our chain, okay. And is our chain going to become a legal entity as well?
Our chain will be a Washington State Cooperative,
Uh-huh.
and it's been in the plan since January to do that. It's what was presented to investors. That would, as what would happen.
Okay.
To shepherd the commons, the open source.
Yeah. So Greg talked about, part of the discussion with regard, or the negotiation with regard to 2.1 million in the of investor proceeds that are migrating by some methodology over to our chain, right? Would be allocated for legal counsel, right?
I'm sorry, I lost you there. What are you saying?
Okay. Is there money now in a budget that's been essentially agreed on by the community for legal counsel for that co-op? I'm just curious.
There's no budgets approved for anything right now.
Okay, so they have not reached a deal.
No. And
Okay.
They failed to reach a deal. And what DOR wants to do is hold a stockholders meeting on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And he's proposing that Greg be removed from the board.
Mm-hmm.
And you basically gets $330,000.
So they just want to pay off, kind of squeeze Greg into a position where he gets a payoff and walks away.
Well, they said based on progress, he'll get additional money. But, who's budgeting that? What they're doing is they're making the ridiculous claim that Greg is incompetent.
Yeah, I know.
Anybody with sense would realize that that's total bullshit.
Yeah.
So they're going to judge his work to be good enough to get further payments. Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. So there's inconsistency in their position versus their solution.
Right.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
What I'm doing is I'm encouraging the board to keep Greg on the board and add an impartial third party so that there's no disagreements.
Well, how many people are on the board? First of all, what is the Israeli legal entity a C corp? In other words, a stock corporation. It has a board of directors, right? It's not a limited liability corporation.
I don't know.
It's a company.
I don't know. Maybe they reorganized. I don't know what the current state is. It's always been called the LTD. But the board has two members, Greg and Dora.
And how many stockholders does it have? Do we know that?
Maybe a dozen. I don't know. Maybe.
And Andy
is the largest stockholder.
He's the largest stockholder, and I was pretty impressed with him. He seems, he seemed to be really working towards a solution.
Yeah.
Was it ever clarified? He was talking 600,000 to our chain, and Greg was talking, 840 or something like that.
Right. Well, the bottom line is Greg agreed to half the crowd sale fund.
They
And
Greg agreed to that.
he agreed to half the crowd sale funds, which is, less than his budget demands, but
Mhm.
he agreed to that. And but he wants 840,000 the first year.
And
Then he's willing to have his work reviewed, because by then he'll have something that
okay,
is
so he's
undeniably useful.
yeah, and Doer's not willing to give it to him.
Right.
Okay, so we don't know why that is. Whether yeah, okay, but it's it's and Greg's not willing to budge on that. He's saying this is the project, this is what it's going to cost, and I'm not willing to commit to something that's budgeted to fail from the beginning.
Right. And my experience dealing with corporations tells me that he's making the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
I was, and I ended up, I wrote the technical proposal that brought in several $1 million at NJIT,
Mm-hmm.
and I got funded initially, but in the end, I ended up meeting everybody's deliverables. All the other sub projects that where other people grabbed pieces of the money, they all failed. I was the only one that delivered. But at the end, I was maintaining 15,000 lines of code by myself, and I had to stop the project.
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's no reason why people should be driven into, devoting their entire, 16 hours a day to, maintaining something that others should be doing. So, yeah.
And Greg's not even paying himself on this project.
Yeah, I know. I watched the whole thing. I mean, I have my own opinions about everything, but I'm not going to talk about it on this recorded meeting.
Well, I'm sort of in the loop in a lot of gossip that I can't repeat, and I don't know how valid it is.
Mm.
But it definitely colors my decision and my view on the problem.
Yeah. Well, in any case, I mean, the amps all exist outside of any of this. An amp is an amp, although it is the value is affected
Yeah, well,
by the controversy.
That concerns investors is that the most of the amps haven't been distributed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and that would speak to wanting to have success as far as our chain is concerned. I mean, in other words, if that is in effect a fork, would you call it a fork of the amp, or do amps?
Yeah, well, one of the things that could happen is there could be a fork of the R-Chain token and AMP. If there, there's
You mean and the R-Chain minting its own amps?
Yeah, well,
so then it kind of becomes like what happened to Ethereum in the DAO.
Yeah, right, and so, but there's a lot of different ways that could play out. There may be a period where people can trade amps for our chain coins.
Yeah.
Or whatever. There's a number of options.
Well, and I mean that would come down then to a marketplace really evaluation as to the relative value of the two sides of the fork, and if the R chain gains traction, it may at some point diminish the value of amps on the scenario LTD side, right?
Well, it could. I mean, the issue then becomes scenario loses its leg up on R chain.
Loses its what?
Its leg up.
Leg up.
Yeah. In other words, it doesn't become the first native coin on R chain.
You mean scenario LTD?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
The scenario, if the board votes to add members rather than remove Greg, my expectation is, well, first of all, I think the AMP will recover immediately. Secondly, scenario AMP will be the first AMP on the R chain, and it will have a 6-month lead over any other currencies on the R chain.
Okay.
Or some period of time that's negotiable.
So let me ask you this: R chain then is it's really in a generic form. It's about attention-based currencies, correct?
Well, no. I mean, it will be in that is the specific application area that they're focusing on the first year in order to support the attention economy and the AMP.
Right.
General purpose platform, and it'll be used for all kinds of business process orchestration and other applications, which only involve the AMP insofar as they are social and they use the reputation and identity and other things that comes with scenario.
Yeah, right. And this is the reason why in Divi we talk about, okay, we're working in Ethereum Morden testnet now, but we would like to pivot to R chain, presumably.
Right. Exactly.
What's that beeping?
Sorry, my phone's on the computer again and it's buzzing.
Okay. It sounded like Clarabelle the clown honking his horn. Remember that? The Howdy Doody program? The Howdy Doody show.
I play music with my ears. Honk, honk. What? Eardrums. That's what I remember.
All right. Anyhow, Howdy Doody was way before your time, Killian.
All right. So it's coming to the top of the hour.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we can actually get out of here early.
Yeah.
Let me show you the proposal form. I post the link in the
chat,
and there, just to show you how to enable notification.
Okay. Oh, click responses.
Yes, you click responses, and actually my internet is right now too slow. I cannot do the process now, but if you share your screen, I can show you.
Okay, all right, here we go. Okay, so I mean, I started over here, I'm in, I'll just, yeah. Yeah, so I click responses. this is the form, right? Okay. I mean, I don't know. Anyhow, so
Right, and now you click the three dots,
okay.
and you see you already have checkmarked it. So you also should have gotten an email about like when you filled out the form.
Huh. It's weird. I searched Divi and I found nothing in there.
Maybe search proposal submission.
I could do that. Let's try it. So proposal submission.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you see.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so here it is. It came through as Google Forms.
Right.
Well, what about this one?
Let's
see what that's. No, that's to propose added comment. Okay, never mind. So this would be the one.
Right.
One new response. Okay, so can we rename that Divi proposal?
We can rename proposal submission to something else, but
yeah, we can make a Divi proposal submission, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I look at Google Forms and I just think it's another Google thing, and I don't know, it didn't register with me, so.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Should be changed now.
Well, Jim, while we're doing it here, you can see what it is. We're calling it right here, Bounty Task Reward Automation White Paper. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. Well, we'll go down. So it's Jeff and I. We're going to collaborate. Proposer's email. Why? What?
That you're looking at both proposals together. If you click on the individual at the top, you'll just see one.
Oh, geez. Why would? Geez.
He was giving you a summary of all the submissions. Okay. Now,
And they were all, but.
Okay, so now you want to go to the next proposal.
Man. So these are all proposals, but how can they all wind up on one sheet? I don't get it.
That's the summary sheet. If I was looking for a proposal submitted by Joe Blow, I would look at the summary sheet and find the proposal.
Oh, boy, I'll have to run through this.
If it was other kinds of data being collected, it would be clearer why you would want a summary.
Okay, I'll try to understand it. In any case, so here it is, bounty task reward, and I don't know whether we want to make this an agenda item now. I mean, I didn't have time to discover it and migrate it as an agenda item, which is part of the protocol. But what we're talking about. So the proposal description right here, will explain DAO tokens spelled out within the bounty system, including the 10% initial return to Divi. Demonstrate the importance of a taxonomy that can represent levels of classes and a vetting mechanism for awarding tokens. Okay, so that's kind of the meat of what I was talking about before with regard to the scenario CC documents, the bounty award documents there. That's where, you know, we can use that as a living laboratory for this, okay? And so vision, next step from Divi, roadmap to Divi DAO on the way to creating a full white paper ready for ICO and code. Okay, so what we're proposing here is to essentially write the definitive white paper that, you know, is the next step. I mean, it provides the basis for ICO funding for this particular part of the, you know, this module in the roadmap, which I would, you know, I almost feel like this automated tasking piece is, or matrix, whatever we want to call it, is essential for the success of Divi.
Yeah. The only point I would like to make about that, and is that Colony and Backfeed and
Wings.
Wings, I have to look at the BitNation. All of these structures, you know, define a structure that goes from the top down to the bottom, and we need to be clear that the Divi doesn't work that way. And this is a structure that we may use at the top level, but in no way restricts any team or community within Divi to the particular process.
Well, no, I understand that, but well, okay. I mean, you named half a dozen others. These are these task reward matrices that are automated? That's my question.
Yeah. You know, you might want to, you know, I mean, there's some good ideas there. I think there's some practical problems with them.
Why don't you put them in, you know, put them in the toolbox document under suggestions. Okay. And then you know, we can start a category task reward mechanisms or something like that.
Right. And, you know, the key thing is that I was hoping to interoperate with Colony, but they're not interested. You know, so, you know, we do want to interoperate with as many of these different mechanisms as possible. I mean, there's you know, I guess there should be some research area on task reward systems or something with a list of tools or techniques that are used.
Well, yeah, I mean, in other words, you're saying within the category, we want to have some definitive document that explains the space, the task reward space, right?
Right.
And what we're trying to do. Okay, so that's fine. So you see what I'm copying and pasting this into the community meeting document that I'm using, but when you were screen sharing, Jim, it seemed to me that you were in a different document. And
don't tell me that.
yeah, well, and let me just say this. I mean, I'll go back to, let's see, I'll go back to here. Okay, so here's how I got to the document I'm working in. This is right here, yes. So I double click on that and double click on that. And this is what I come up with.
Oh boy. Somehow I'm working in the wrong folder.
Well, you might want to go and grab the one, you know, out of the meeting archive and,
Yeah.
you know, copy and paste whatever you've been doing in the document you're doing there into this one. And I see Killian is in this document. Killian, does he show up in your document, Jim?
No. I'm definitely in the wrong folder. I'm in the 29 folder. Somehow I made 2 copies.
Well, you know, it was interesting when I got here. I had to change. I just went ahead and changed this to today's date. Okay, because it did show up here as, you know, the document you created and placed in the meeting archive.
Okay, so what happened was I put last week's meeting into the new folder somehow. And I put this week's meeting into the old folder.
Okay. So anyhow, I mean, but this is the one that we're working off of, right?
Well, it's certainly not the one I've been working off of.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what the agenda was today?
No, I didn't. I saw basically a blank, you know, a document that had been inserted but hadn't really been purposed for today's meeting. So I went ahead and purposed it.
So I guess then the old document, like from last week's meeting, we don't have anymore.
Right. Well, we're going to have to go the other way. We're going to have to move the updates made to the last week's document to the new document.
Yeah.
And then we can go back in the history of the old document and restore it to its old value.
Can you do that, Jim?
Yeah, I'll do that. I was the one who screwed up, so I guess I have to clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, what I've done here was I did move.
Yeah, I'll update today's document. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, no, you guys are working in the right document. Never mind.
Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, and it didn't wipe out. It didn't wipe out last week's meeting, did it? I mean, let me go back here. Let's see.
No, last week's meeting is gone. I will restore it.
Well, wait a minute. You see my screen? It says, let's see what's here.
It says 12.
Okay. The new one.
Okay. So it renamed it in the last week's meeting folder.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I made a copy in the same folder and then I renamed the wrong document.
Well, let me show something here, okay? And I've had a little bit of trouble using it, but this down here, this is the document that I use, and I think you use, right, Killian?
Yes.
And this is the generic document, and the process I've used is to just make a copy of this, and then I name it for the current meeting. And Killian, tell me how you get it. What happens is it creates the new document exists down here at the bottom of the meeting archive. How do you get it up to the top?
I think drag and drop.
I tried it over and over. I tried splitting my screen and transferring it, and it just didn't work last week.
I move document. I just open the document and I hit the folder and I move it.
Yeah, but it's in the same folder.
What?
Right? It's moving. It's moving from down here. Okay, like if I do this, okay, let's look at this. All right.
First create a copy.
So I'm gonna not rename. I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna say I'm gonna make it for next week's meeting. Okay, so make a copy, and I'm going to
just leave it that name for now. That's fine.
Well, we need to be able to distinguish it. Let's just make next week's meeting, okay? Let's just do it.
You should have created the folder first. But that's okay. You can make a copy.
Okay. So that's where I was having trouble. I was trying to move a file to the top, and it should have been a folder. In other words, I should have created the folder and then moved it into the folder.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's we've got it. Let's Divi community meeting, and this is going to be all right. Hang on.
I think there's an easier way. Like
2016-12. What is it? Let me see. 13, right? 12-13. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So now we've got it. Now it should be down here, right? Yes.
right.
Okay. So now we need to
drag and drop it.
right here create a folder, right? So this one's going to be 2016-12-13, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now I can come down here and
Drag and drop.
I can take this and I can, whoa, why is it doing that? Jesus. Okay, I'll take this. Okay.
And before, instead of opening the document and then copying it, you could just right-click it and click on Make a Copy.
Oh, okay. Just another shortcut. Okay. All right. So now we've got and we need to change this. Yeah. So So 2016, 12, 13. Okay. All right. Well, very good. Thank you for walking me through that. Okay.
I would like to leave the meeting and begin the process of posting the video.
Okay.
At 1:30, I think we have the Greg's meeting, and then at 4 o'clock we have the Scenario CC meeting. Is there any final business? You guys can stay if you want to stay, but
Yeah, maybe Killian, let's stay for a little bit. We probably ought to catch up on a few things, but
Sure.
okay, I'll stop share. Let's see. And so you're going to stop recording?
yeah, I don't stop recording as soon as I leave.
Okay. All right.
You want admin permissions? You want to record or anything?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think, we can end the official part of the meeting, right?
Right.
And you can stop record and then leave.
Right.
Just go wherever the hell you want to go.
Okay. In any case, I made the Killian host. Bye, all.
I feel honored.
Okay. All right, Jim. Good to see you.
Bye.